Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR, HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
Welcome, everyone. This is Joanne Reese. Big warm Wednesday to you. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Redondo Beach, California, and super excited to have you join the Hemp Show. I think week after week, this show gets more exciting for me as we see legislation changing throughout the United States and globally. We're seeing a lot of shifts in decriminalizing a lot of different plants, including hemp. We're seeing a big shift away from people wanting to be doing maybe more traditional things around their health with more pharmaceutical stuff to people really, really researching and wanting to learn more about holistic remedies. And at the top of that list, I'm excited to, be deep in this conversation of cannabidiol. Really bringing education to people about what's the difference between hemp and marijuana. Why do you want to be learning about CBD, how this is going to help everybody you know with different challenges and issues they're having, as well as, one of the hottest business topics happening right here, right now, the business of cannabis, the business of hemp. On the health side, on the beauty side, what we're seeing happen with farmers, how this is helping our planet. It's a big conversation that impacts all of us in a really profound, significant way. So thanks for being here. Thanks for having some curiosity about learning about, it's funny, we're learning about one of the oldest, most ancient plants on the planet. Something that we have very, very long history with, this plant called cannabis. And yet, because of government regulation, prohibition, criminalization, suddenly we stopped thinking about this. We thought about, reefer madness and all this crazy programming that happened. Some different industries, plastics, textiles, pharma came in and eliminated this from our system. And, as a result, we're suffering a lot of consequences of not having access to this plant and a lot of misunderstanding around it. So it's exciting that the tides are changing. It's exciting that that this is now federally legal, that banking is involved, that research is happening, and that the word is starting to get out all across everywhere. People are starting to get really, really curious and well-informed, and I hope that we have an opportunity to contribute that here with the guests we have, et cetera. So, and I'm super excited to have our guest today, Miss Kiana Prema. Hi, Kiana.
Hey, Joanne. Thanks for having me.
We're so happy to have you. So Kiana's the reason that I learned about CBD. She's the one that called me up about 2.5 years ago. And I've shared this story briefly a couple of times, but I was in a place of kind of crisis. I was in a place of personal healing emergency, mental and emotional healing emergency, big challenges, financially and a lot of other things. And Kiana called me up, excited, passionate, and she said, this is it. This is what we've been waiting for. This is what we've been praying for. What do you know about CBD? And I was like, nothing. I've never heard of CBD. I didn't know anything about it. And fortunately for me, I have a great friend network, a lot of people who study business, they study social media, they study holistic plant medicines. I've been lucky enough to have a wonderful tribe on a lot of levels, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, energetic, all these different levels. And Kiana has some wonderful things to bring to this conversation. So I know you're trained as a chemical engineer. You're also an amazing performance artist. You've worked with a lot of conscious business entrepreneurs doing business coaching and creating business plans for companies. I know you're a social media marketing guru and expert. You lead mastermind groups for women entrepreneurs, and you know a lot about cannabis. So I'm super excited to get this conversation going with you today, Kiana.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. And I love the question that you posed to me. So, but first I'm going to let you talk a little bit about your background. How did this come to you? Tell us a little about your background and get us started.
Yeah, thanks. So, yeah, you really kind of highlighted the points there. I have a degree in chemical engineering. I studied at Arizona State University, and from there I had a few years where I was in corporate sales. I sold capital equipment in the semiconductor industry, and it wasn't too long. It was about 2.5 years into that, 3 years, that I realized that I just wasn't really doing what I was meant to do. And I was set on this path of kind of creative entrepreneurialism, and it also just sent me really into this path of health and wellness and really a deep dive and a deep study with plant medicine and all of these amazing plants that are on the planet that can really just help us to not only come into our optimum health, but awaken our consciousness and be the more epic versions of ourselves that we're meant to be here on the planet. So a long journey with that, which did kind of, I was always weaving all these different realms. So business and marketing, but health and wellness. And probably about 3.5 years ago, living in the LA area, I was starting to tune into cannabis as an emerging industry, right? LA, California had legal medical cannabis at the time, and the conversation about legal rec was happening. And I just was noticing from a business perspective in my entrepreneurial mind that this was an emerging industry, and what had been something that was totally underground was now starting to become actually legal and business-oriented. And so I was already starting to kind of turn my rudder in the direction of brand development and business strategy for cannabis companies when hemp really showed up strongly. And in that process, I actually did engage in a few hemp projects here and there, but I didn't quite understand so much then what was going on here. And then about 2.5 years ago, you were one of the first people I talked to. I had somebody reach out to me and say, hey, I found this really great CBD, and there's this ground floor network marketing opportunity. And it was a really funny moment where I had this experience of kind of witnessing myself say these words. I just kind of saw them come out of my mouth, and I was like, oh, I wonder where that came from. I was like, cool, I'm awesome at that. And that started the beginning of really stepping into this. And I was in a major transitional state in my life, too. I had just had a financial bottom out. I was figuring things out. If you've ever had any kind of financial rock bottom place, you know that it's also very stressful emotionally and mentally. So I had like a whole bucket of challenges myself that I was dealing with. But I came to an event to learn about what was going on, to experience the hemp oil that was being talked about through Prime My Body. And I had an immediate visceral experience with it, where all those worry and anxious thoughts that were just like on constant loop in my mind, the tension in my neck and shoulders and just my body, all of that within a few moments started to relax and quiet, and I really came back to this like clear, centered space that I hadn't been in a long time. And I knew that something really important was happening because I had experienced other CBD products. Like I said, I was kind of already turning my rudder into that field, and I had never had anything that really had noticeable effects. Like I kind of had this idea, knowing I was doing something good for myself by taking it, but not really necessarily feeling it. And so that was a big eye-opener. And then I just also realized that from a business standpoint, like there was this opportunity for me to really do all the things I love to do the coaching, to do kind of business women empowerment work, to do marketing, to be an educator, to be an advocate for this really potent plant. And because the product was so good, because this this market, this timing is so right, there was just really massive growth for me from the financial standpoint as well. And, I went from the brokest I've ever been to the most wealthy I've ever been in an incredibly short period of time. In just a matter of 7 months, I had actually reached a 6-figure income, and that was a glass ceiling that I hadn't broke. Even in my corporate sales life, I had never broke 6 figures. I'd come very close, but never gone through it. So, just all amazing momentum to really skyrocket me into another part of reality.
Oh, I love it.
All that.
I just wanted to highlight a couple of things that you said that really impacted me. First of all, that within a really short period of time, like a few minutes, you felt like an ease, a calm, a quiet in your body and in your mind, and that you hadn't experienced before with anything else. And I hope that anybody who's listening to this call can really have that land for you, because it's unusual that something like that can happen, that we go from a state of fight or flight, that high intensity mode, into within minutes, something. And I think that's really, really unique. And then you bring in the second big point, which is about we're getting ready to watch one of the fastest growing emerging industries of our lifetime. So from a business perspective, it's now's the time. We're in the right place at the right time. If you're learning about hemp in 2019, we're at the very beginning of watching a massive emergence here. And for those who started to learn about it 3 years ago, touche, even better, right? But it is such an incredible time. And then the other thing is just as you're tuning in to your intuition and your inner guidance, and you're tuning into how the plant medicines help and serve in awakening our consciousness, which is what really spoke to me. There's an opportunity for massive expansion, which, to grow a 7-figure or 6-figure business in, 7 months without, we're not here to make medical claims or make any promises or anything. But, for me, that just shows you're moving energy through the universe. You're in an expansion mode. You're saying yes to something. High-level service,
yes.
From my perspective.
Yes, absolutely. And that was why this was so beautiful for me, because that was my mission. I had that clarity almost a decade ago when I shifted out of that corporate America path and more into this creative, spiritual entrepreneurship path. I knew I was doing that. That pivot was all based around service and community, and I honestly had no idea what that even meant at the moment. Right? It's been a path of unfolding to discover that, and that's where this really came together, to be able to be all of those things and to be able to have the benefit of consuming, and not just consuming but communing with the hemp extract, with the CBD oil, and being able to create connection there and really show up with that question of how can I be of service, and letting those answers arrive, which when you're in a place of high anxiety, high fight or flight, you're dealing with lots of pain, right? Even if you do your yoga and your meditation every day, it's actually really hard to get to the clarity and get to the answers when you're focused on the pain or you're focused on the discomfort that's happening. So to have this plant ally be in the body, be working with the nervous system, be allowing everything to settle and reach that state, having the body actually move into the energetic and vibrational state of that high-level connection where you can now get that guidance and move from that place. I mean, that's what happened for me. That's what I did. That's what I do. That is what drove my business, was showing up in that question of service and then allowing it to be the guidance to move me forward. And
yeah, so what you're really talking about is, I just want to highlight again, this is it's communion, right? It's communion with the intelligence in this plant, in the spiritual intelligence. This is a sacred plant that we've had relationships with for centuries. It's served on every level, especially with hemp, and we're going to go into that in a little bit here, because we talk a lot about CBD and we talk a lot about health benefits, but this really goes way beyond that. They're talking about fuel. They're talking about they're talking about food. They're talking about unbelievable amounts of different products that can be produced from this, as well as having the opportunity to detoxify the soil and regenerate health in our soil. But on a deeper level, it's almost as like the plants are here to help us fulfill our higher mission, right? Which is like we're in a place of a lot of crisis in our political systems and our economic systems with old paradigm, war and conflict and, man's inhumanity to man. Like, stuff is being exposed at a really high level right now. And there's an opportunity for the people that are being called to, like, turn up the light inside, right? Wake yourself up. Come into, and there's a lot that distracts us from that, right? Our worries, our trauma, our addictions, our sickness, however that shows up for you, physical, mental, emotional, energetic, whatever. It's like we've got some things that are distracting us and getting us in the way of fulfilling our higher mission and our higher purpose on the planet. And so for those of us who are ready to say yes to something bigger, to be a part of this global community of helping uplift humanity and really have great, incredible impact, it's like we need to quiet the inner fire inside. We need to address the financial lack and limitation, and we need to come together, for greater empowerment. So I feel like that's the tribe, right? That's being called with this.
Absolutely, it's such a big yes to all of what you just said, and to just highlight the other point that you were mentioning too before, just the timing of this from a business standpoint, from a an entrepreneurial standpoint, it's just incredible. Like I knew there was a trend 3 years ago, right? But I had no idea that it was as big as it would be. And I think nobody really knew for sure because it was, there was a lot of gray zone in the legal environment and the political environment around all of that. But the fact that at the end of 2018, the Farm Bill Act of 2018 was signed into law, federally decriminalizing hemp, making it a clear distinction as separate from marijuana, and ultimately making it the next big booming cash crop of our country, has just absolutely catapulted this plant, a sacred plant, which had been demonized and taken away from us, now into the forefront of just the biggest boom that we're ever going to see. Right? When I was first looking at cannabis and really more of the medical marijuana side, they were talking about a $22 billion industry for medical marijuana by the years 2022, that there was going to be big growth there. And that was big. That was exciting, right? But that was still different. They were really talking about the THC side of things. But with the shift in the legal structure around hemp now, I'm hearing reports from in Kentucky and in the South that all of the tobacco farmers are changing their fields over to hemp because it's actually more lucrative. Even in California, all of the big investors and people who are going in on the medical marijuana side have actually all changed over to hemp and CBD because it's an easier path from a legislation and a legal standpoint. So, when you're looking at things through the lens of business, like that's the fastest path to cash. And so people are going there. And I don't think this is a bad thing. I think this is a great thing that we're actually having this merge of like of the commerce that is a part of our reality in this world with this incredibly sacred healing plant that has the opportunity to really solve most of humanity's problems. I know we're going to talk about that more. But it's super exciting. And now the market research out there is saying that hemp-derived CBD, just hemp-derived CBD, that alone is going to skyrocket from $500 million last year in the United States to $22 billion in 2022, so over the next 3 years. That is a 44x growth. We have never in our lifetime seen an industry that had that type of projected growth, and we never will see an industry that's had that type of projected growth. It's just absolutely phenomenal, and it's only in the direction of good as far as I'm concerned. It's only in the direction of good to just really have this plant being out there, being consumed by humans, right, having it be used for all of its other uses as well, and really helping to bring not only our physical, emotional, mental bodies back into a place of homeostasis, but bringing our global environment back into a place of homeostasis.
I love it. Yeah. So, and what we know about these projections is oftentimes they're way more and faster than what we think, especially with something like this. You highlighted the difference between hemp and marijuana, and I just want to say for anybody who's tuning in or new to this conversation, right, so there's a plant called cannabis. There's thousands of strains of this plant. If it has above 0.3 THC, it's legally marijuana, and if it's below 0.3 THC, then it's legally hemp. That's the federal government's legal definition. So in this conversation in the hemp show, we're primarily talking about a non-psychoactive experience, not something that's going to get you high, but something that has profound, health benefits. And we're also going to be talking a little bit about how is hemp going to really address a lot of the bigger issues that we're having on our planet today, in our societies today. We're going to talk a little bit about the business of it. And I have to have Kiana talk a little bit about the endocannabinoid system because she's so masterful at doing it. So we'll be back right after this short break.
Coach Kev believes everyone is a leader and has a kingdom to build. He wrote Kingdom Business, License to Lead, to give you his secrets to leadership and to learn how to use the 4 pillars and hemp oil to become a committed, passionate leader of your life. Get the book, Kingdom Business, License to Lead by Kevin J. Suber at Amazon.com. You'll be glad you did. So do it now. Kingdom Business at Amazon.com or call 424-645-7823. That's 424-645-7823.
Women face more challenges today, resulting in more stress, anxiety, and body imbalances. Women need a little more support, and that's where Recept may help. Organically grown and processed with nanosonicated technology, this THC-free hemp product is a great balancing tool. It may aid a woman's hormonal balance from PMS to conception, from pregnancy to menopause. So women, get your calm on. Order Recept today. Just text or call 310-678-9712.
You're interested in trying hemp for healing, but you really don't know where to turn for answers. That's when you call cannabis nurse Jamie Rollins-Smith. She'll help you design an individualized, effective plan for utilizing just the right cannabis medicine, whole food nutrition, and mindfulness to achieve your personal wellness goals. As a cannabis consultant, she even offers services and online courses for nurses. Find out more about Jamie Rollins-Smith at TrueHealthConsulting.com. Or better yet, call her at 561-377-0220.
After 80 years, the government has finally broken open this industry. Imagine tapping into an industry that is expected to grow from $60 million to $22 billion in just 2 years. The industry is hemp. This just might be what you're looking for. To find out how you could be an international distributor with one of the fastest growing hemp companies, call or text 310-678-9712 now. That's 310-678-9712.
Created by nature and proven by science, Recept Hemp Extract is something you've probably never experienced before. This organic, non-THC product not only has CBD, but Recept has the latest and highest CBG content. CBG may aid sleep, pain, digestion, mood, so many things. Get your broad-spectrum Recept today. Call or text 310-678-9712 now, or visit lovinglife.primemybody.com.
You're listening to HealthyLife.net. Millions of listeners know the secret. Now you do too. Positive talk 24 hours a day, every day.
Thanks so much for joining us today. This is Joanne Reese, and we are on the Hemp Show live with Miss Kiana Prema out of Boulder, Colorado. I think our goal for today's call is to kind of go big picture, bigger picture, and then, of course, always coming down to what does this mean for you? What does this mean for each individual person? Are you in a health crisis? Are you in a financial crisis? Do you know somebody who's in a health crisis? This call is meant to be a resource for you, and I'm here to be your personal connoisseur here. So I want to give you all my phone number, and you can write it down. You can text me or call me if you have questions about any of the content that's being discussed here. I'm available. My cell phone is 310-678-9712. That's 310-678-9712. So feel free to text me or bring me your questions. We're going to also tell you about how you can get in touch with Kiana and what she's doing to be in service to humanity. This show is about being in service. It's about bringing value to you. It's about educating you about important things that are happening that are here to help us, and assets and tools that we can share, and hopefully be building a community around that. So Kiana, you got really excited about cannabis as a business. You had a personal experience with this, and then you started really researching. And as that research went on, tell me more and more about, what excited you about being an educator and an entrepreneur in this arena.
Yeah, thank you. I just feel like it's such a gift and a blessing that I get to be an advocate and an educator for hemp. It is such an incredibly powerful plant. And, to wrap our minds around the fact that this plant, which has over tens of thousands, I think it's like actually documented something like, I wish I had the exact number, pardon me, it's like 30 to 50,000 uses of hemp that are like documented uses, that it is just mind-boggling, right? It's just absolutely mind-boggling that we haven't been utilizing this plant in all of its glory for the last, decades, like the last several generations, especially here in the United States. So, as I started to really dig in and learn more about it, I just realized that this is such a powerful time for us to realize that the solutions to most of humanity's problems are available to us. They're right here. We are not in a desperate situation per se. We just have to wake up to the other options on the table from what we've known, what we've been shown, and what we've been given. And hemp is amazing in that it has the ability to do so many things. As a food, it's a rich food source. Hemp seeds, you can get those at the grocery store now, and it's just such a great source of good fats and omega acids and all of these great benefits there. There's amazing opportunity for hemp as far as fuel goes. We could actually be making fuel for our vehicles out of hemp, and it would be much cleaner and much more sustainable than what we have now. We have the possibility to be creating building materials. Hempcrete is an incredible option that's just really starting to be seen out there. And when you build with hempcrete, it's amazing because it actually makes homes like mold resistant and fire resistant. Like, there are all these incredible benefits of it. And again, sustainable. We're not cutting down forests or trees to build homes. Hemp has the ability to grow very rapidly, and you can get tons more acreage of hemp than you can, and you grow it much faster than you can with trees. So it's super exciting on all of these fronts. It's as a fiber, it can be woven into textiles and actually be used for clothing. In fact, when you compare growing hemp and growing cotton, it's incredible. Hemp uses 50% less water than cotton to create a single shirt, and also has major savings in pesticides. We're not required to use nearly, if any, pesticides with growing hemp. Like, organic hemp is a totally easy thing to grow, probably more so than other things that are out there. So, we start to look at how we utilize just total resources on our planet, and hemp is a major solution. There are hemp plastics. Really, anything and everything in this world made of plastic could be made of hemp plastic. And here's what's exciting about that. A plastic water bottle made of a hemp plastic completely biodegrades in 80 days completely biodegrades, like returns to the soil, no negative harm, no negative side effects, which is amazing, right? We're hearing more and more, states and countries are banning the use of plastic and plastic bottles, which is a great direction to be going. But then there's also this other piece of like, how do we do things in a better way? And hemp has that opportunity to do that. And the list goes on and on and on. One of the very first vehicles and the very first cars ever created by Henry Ford was actually a hemp vehicle. It was made completely of hemp, and if I got this right, and it might not, we'll have to fact search this, but I believe it was also powered by hemp fuel. That original car was created. The body was made out of hemp, and it was also created with the hemp fuel. So there's just so many exciting opportunities, and that's been a big drive and a big passion for me to be able to stand on that platform and really, really speak for this plant and how and why we want to be growing it and we want to be utilizing it. We want to be shifting up the technologies and the way that we have done things so that we can be not just sustainable, but we can be thriving.
Thriving. Yes, thriving.
Thriving on this planet, right? Sustainability is good. We want to make sure that we can sustain.
Right.
But let's actually rise above that and really thrive. And I see this clearly as a way to be able to do that.
Yep.
And I know you kind of touched on this a little bit in the first segment, but hemp is a bioremediator. Not only can we solve some problems and switch some things up and kind of move away from some of the old ways which have become problematic, we can actually clean up the problems that we've created. Hemp, more than really any other plant out there, has this ability to kind of suck up the toxins from the soil, from the earth, and actually incorporate that into the plant, getting it out of the soil, making the soil healthier. So in places where we've seen toxic experiences or where, the soil has just been depleted because it's been over-farmed with a certain crop, rotating hemp in there can be a major asset to really re-enlivening Mother Earth.
Yeah, I've even heard in radiation sites where they've had big toxic exposures and stuff, they plant hemp. They plant hemp all around there to really address this and bring health back in. And I feel like, this is the shift in consciousness, that so many of the things that you mentioned. This is our up-leveling. When we know better, we do better. I hear and say this all the time. So we're learning. We're learning how to do better. We're learning about how to thrive. We're learning about how to serve one another more. And we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with more.
The best herbalist aromatherapist crafted body creams and herbal remedy products are now available to you. Completely organic, completely chemical free, and here's the secret, they're made with love. Vitality and rejuvenation seeps through with every application of Gaia's Garden Bath and Botanica products. Get your Gaia's Garden Bath and Botanica products today. Visit artfire.com and search for Gaia's Garden Bath and Botanica. That's artfire.com. Search for Gaia's Garden Bath and Botanica, and you're there.
After 80 years, the government has finally broken open this industry. Imagine tapping into an industry that is expected to grow from $60 million to $22 billion in just 2 years. The industry is hemp. This just might be what you're looking for. To find out how you could be an international distributor with one of the fastest growing hemp companies, call or text 310-678-9712 now. That's 310-678-9712.
You're interested in trying hemp for healing, but you really don't know where to turn for answers. That's when you call cannabis nurse Jamie Rollins Smith. She'll help you design an individualized, effective plan for utilizing just the right cannabis medicine, whole food nutrition, and mindfulness to achieve your personal wellness goals. As a cannabis consultant, she even offers services and online courses for nurses. Find out more about Jamie Rollins Smith at TrueHealthConsulting.com. Or better yet, call her at 561-377-0220.
Women face more challenges today, resulting in more stress, anxiety, and body imbalances. Women need a little more support, and that's where Recept may help. Organically grown and processed with nanosonicated technology, this THC-free hemp product is a great balancing tool. It may aid a woman's hormonal balance from PMS to conception, from pregnancy to menopause. So women, get your calm on. Order Recept today. Just text or call 310-678-9712.
Humans aren't the only ones that can benefit from hemp. Animals can too. Hemp Health for Pets was specially formulated for dogs and cats. Safe and effective, your pets can feel balanced in body and mind with Prime My Pet Hemp and Health Blend. It has organic CBD and yucca, hawthorn, fish oil, and red algae, making Hemp and Health Blend perfect to aid your pet's inflammation, skin conditions, joints, and more. Get yours today. Just text or call 310-678-9712. That's 310-678-9712.
Eclectic talk with a positive twist. HealthyLife.net.
This is Joanne Reese on The Hemp Show. If you're just tuning in, feel free to go to the on-demand podcast to check out the beginning segments of today's interview. We are talking about the magical plant hemp, our long, rich history with this hemp, the re-education that's coming back in, where we're learning about how this plant can provide fuel, how it can create homes, how they've made cars out of hemp, what an incredible food source this is, how it not only can feed the people, but it can feed the animals. We're talking about the amazing bioremediation quality of this plant, where it's literally cleaning the soil, it's sucking toxins out, it's addressing heavy metals, poisoning, radiation, and the different ways that we've polluted our environment. Planting hemp is something that addresses that. And our guest today, Miss Kiana Prema, so happy to be with you and just be having this conversation about how hemp is going to help us solve the world's problems.
Yes, amen. I think I absolutely know it is. It is.
I heard myself saying that to some people over the last couple of years, like cannabis is here to save us, and then I like to look at their face to see like how tuned into that are they. I know that I know you've experienced this, but like the climate has changed in the last 2.5 years since I first started talking about this with you.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's super exciting because there is a trend. There's a trend happening, right? So, the conversation 2.5 years ago, was often leading with, "Hey, have you heard of CBD?" And while that still is a question, because there are still lots of people who haven't, who are learning about it, it's not as much the question, because you now look at the cover of Time magazine or turn on the nightly news, or it's just become so much more of a mainstream conversation now around CBD, around hemp, even around the bigger conversation of cannabis and medical marijuana. It's becoming more and more known, recognized, publicized, talked about that this is happening. So, now the conversation is definitely turning to more of like, yeah, I've heard about CBD, but I haven't found something I really love yet, right? People are still trying to kind of align with a product or products that's going to really work for them. Or people are really hearing the bigger message of like, yeah, this is a booming industry. How do I get involved with it? So while there's still plenty of education to be done, what is it, over 7 billion humans on the planet, there's still plenty of them that haven't heard anything about CBD. There definitely is more from a mainstream media standpoint that's happening that is helping to do a lot of the education and awareness that, even just 2.5 years ago that we were really the ones spearheading. And so, now that's really fuel. That's fuel for our mission to be able to have deeper conversations and reach more people because there's already some level of awareness in the broader community, the broader culture.
Yeah, so there's all these different pieces. There's all these different pieces I hear you talking about bringing together, which is like individuals, as they're learning about this, they have a lot of questions, like, can I take it if I'm on medication? Can I take it when I'm pregnant? Should I give it to my children? How will it help with this? How will it help with that? And then there's like a lot of business interest. Like if you go on Meetup and you type in cannabis, guess what? There's a lot going on. There's tons of meetings that are happening. There's hemp and cannabis conferences that are happening all over the place. I know in every state there, and it's not just like the first or the second one, like it's the third one. It's like this is really gaining momentum here. We had a guest a couple weeks ago that's doing event production all around cannabis events in Texas, no doubt. So the business piece is definitely exposing, and hopefully people are saying, like, do I buy stock? Do I try to open a dispensary? Do I invest in a grow operation? Do I, how do I get involved? And I know that as somebody who's, obviously putting together a global distribution team for one of the fastest growing hemp companies, but also as an entrepreneurial coach, as you're counseling people and companies, like, what really goes into starting your own company.
Yeah. This is work, whether you're coming into our distribution team, or you are looking to start a grow operation or a dispensary or brand or farm or whatever, there is work to be done here. This isn't a lottery ticket in that it's just the check's going to show up on your door. That's for sure. But the exciting part about this is that there really is opportunity for just about anybody, I feel like, to get in and participate in this industry at whatever level you really feel called. But what we're doing specifically, and having this global distribution team and representing a really incredible product that is, a gold standard product, really heads and shoulders above everything else that's out there on the market currently, and we intend to continue to innovate to always hold that position. There is a very low barrier to entry with what we're doing. It's a very low risk, high reward opportunity, and in an area where there's no shortage of need. I really believe there's no shortage of need of people who are looking for the solutions that we have to offer. So, I have worked with people who have created their own products and their own brands, and I've helped them with the brand strategy. I've helped them with production. I've helped them through all these different levels, and it is massive work. And in fact, I was talking to a friend the other day who's starting her own business, not actually a hemp-based business, but still her own business, and just all the things that she's working through, and working with a mentor to write her business plan, and looking at funding possibilities and small business loans, and getting everything that she needs in place so that she could get her first clients. And and then even then she was telling me it's probably 3 to 4 months out before she actually starts to see any kind of return on her investment as far as money coming back. And, she feels passionate about what she's doing, and so I totally support her in that, absolutely. And at the same time, I'm looking here and like what it is that we're doing and we have to offer inside of our team. And this is, again, you're not talking about needing any business loans to get started. You can be earning your paycheck back in, as short as the first week that money is coming back to you and you're in a profit. So lots of opportunity here. And
you don't have to spend $10,000 on a website or $20,000 on a business coach or getting insurance for your employees or a payroll service, or the list goes on and on and on for the entrepreneurial costs of having your own business. So we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with Kiana Prema on The Hemp Show.
You're interested in trying hemp for healing, but you really don't know where to turn for answers. That's when you call cannabis nurse Jamie Rollins Smith. She'll help you design an individualized, effective plan for utilizing just the right cannabis medicine, whole food nutrition, and mindfulness to achieve your personal wellness goals. As a cannabis consultant, she even offers services and online courses for nurses. Find out more about Jamie Rollins Smith at TrueHealthConsulting.com, or better yet, call her at 561-377-0220.
Women face more challenges today, resulting in more stress, anxiety, and body imbalances. Women need a little more support, and that's where Recept may help. Organically grown and processed with nanosonicated technology, this THC-free hemp product is a great balancing tool. It may aid a woman's hormonal balance from PMS to conception, from pregnancy to menopause. So women, get your calm on. Order Recept today. Just text or call 310-678-9712.
Humans aren't the only ones that can benefit from hemp. Animals can too. Hemp Health for Pets was specially formulated for dogs and cats. Safe and effective, your pets can feel balanced in body and mind with Prime My Pet Hemp and Health Blend. It has organic CBD and yucca, hawthorn, fish oil, and red algae, making Hemp and Health Blend perfect to aid your pets' inflammation, skin conditions, joints, and more. Get yours today. Just text or call 310-678-9712. That's 310-678-9712.
After 80 years, the government has finally broken open this industry. Imagine tapping into an industry that is expected to grow from $60 million to $22 billion in just 2 years. The industry is hemp. This just might be what you're looking for. To find out how you could be an international distributor with one of the fastest growing hemp companies, call or text 310-678-9712 now. That's 310-678-9712.
Created by nature and proven by science, Recept Hemp Extract is something you've probably never experienced before. This organic, non-THC product not only has CBD, but Recept has the latest and highest CBG content. CBG may aid sleep, pain, digestion, mood, so many things. Get your broad-spectrum Recept today. Call or text 310-678-9712 now, or visit lovinglife.primemybody.com.
You're listening to HealthyLife.net. Millions of listeners know the secret. Now you do too. Positive talk 24 hours a day, every day.
Thanks so much for joining us today. Hope you're feeling the blessings to be alive. It's good to wake up every morning and just say, I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to have an opportunity to contribute, an opportunity to love myself and love somebody else. My intention for this show is to bring a lot of value, to educate people about a sacred plant, to talk to people about how they can help alleviate suffering on the planet. To bring information that will absolutely touch people at the deepest levels, help their children. I've had an opportunity since I learned about this. Thank you, Kiana, for being with us. Since I learned about hemp and CBD from Kiana, I've had an opportunity over the last 2.5 years to contribute to thousands of people, many of which I never would have met without the information that I learned, without the specific experience with a particular brand of hemp and a particular community, a whole training system, a deep experience with a product. This has really been a vehicle for me to come on and do a radio show like this. I never did a radio show before. To come on and have an opportunity wherever I go to meet people. I met a woman at Trader Joe's today who had a little baby who's having massive digestive issues, crying a lot, and super high need, and a really, really stressed out mom. And I got to talk to her about CBD. I get to talk to her. I get to talk to 3 women yesterday who have friends whose kids are having really severe issues with the seizures and all kinds of things and struggling. Apparently they went into Children's Hospital and talked to a whole bunch of the doctors there, and they're saying, we are interested. We want to learn about this. Come in, do a little presentation, educate us. So we're seeing the shifting tide. We talked about that. My goals here are big. I want to help spread the word about hemp as a as a cash crop, as a plant that's helping us with, I think you said 50 to 80,000 different uses. We have a lot to learn. I love sharing videos with people about the endocannabinoid system. If you haven't Googled that, please do. Endocannabinoid. I'm going to ask Kiana to talk about this in just one quick minute, but there's only about a third of the medical schools in the United States that even teach this, and it's something that was discovered over 30 years ago. So there's a system within our body that we should all know about, and there are uses for this plant that can really benefit us. And, you know, there's a way that people can end maybe the biggest sickness we all have, which is around money and energy and resource, to be able to step into a level of abundance in your health and in your wealth and in your community. And it's all kind of, these are all little different pieces of this conversation that we're having now. So go ahead and speak to any of those three things, Kiana. Take us home.
Yeah, you got it. Well, let's talk about the endocannabinoid system for just a moment, because that's really, this really lands it for why this plant is so important to humanity as far as I'm concerned. Like, we are literally wired as human beings for a synergistic relationship with this plant. As Joanne mentioned, we have an endocannabinoid system. Dr. Raphael Meshulam, who is a researcher out of Israel, did discover this about 30 years ago, him and his team. And they had to work kind of backwards. They were trying to understand why marijuana did what it did, why, hashish would have the effect that it had on the human body. And in doing their research, they actually first identified the molecule THC inside of the plant. But then they started to go, okay, well, why? Why is this? And they realized that the body has these cell receptors that these molecules would attach to, which would create the psychoactive effect, the high effect. And then they said, well, why do we have these cell receptors in our body? Like, why are these there? And further research actually discovered that we have endogenous cannabinoids. They named it cannabinoids because they were so similar to what these molecular compounds coming out of the cannabis plant were. So our bodies create these different compounds, again called endogenous cannabinoids, that bind to these cell receptors in our bodies. And the primary function here is really keeping the body in homeostasis. It's been discovered that these receptors are in all of the organs. They're, in our brain, they're in our spine, they're everywhere. And they work together in kind of this overarching master control system, talking to all the other different functional systems, including the nervous system, including the endocrine system, including the immune system. And it has a plan. It has a mission to keep everything in balance, to keep everything in that homeostasis state. And so we get our very first cannabinoids when we have our mother's milk. It is part of breast milk. There are these high amounts of a cannabinoid in there known as 2-AG is the short name. And they're really to help nourish the body, nourish the brain, nourish the immune system for developing humans, right? So that's important. We want that. And then there's also something that they named anandamide, ananda being the Sanskrit word for bliss, that we produce in our body when we're in peak state. So the idea of the runner's high or being in the zone, it's been thought that was primarily endorphins, and endorphins do play a role in that effect, in that experience. But it's anandamide that is actually the primary component of it. So prayer, meditation, yoga, long run, anything that you're doing where you get into that space of being in the zone, you're actually creating high levels of anandamide. And so what's amazing is that when you start to supplement the body with the cannabinoids that come from the hemp plant, and when we're talking about hemp, we're not talking about THC, so we're not talking about getting high, but we're talking about all these other compounds, including CBD, and now where the research is really pointing at CBG, is that these cannabinoids actually work inside of our body to, one, increase the production of our own endogenous cannabinoids, so we're producing more of it, which is really important because science and medicine is actually finding out that we're pretty deficient in our own endogenous cannabinoids right now, and that's primarily from high levels of stress and toxins and people just not being in those peak state, not doing the running and the yoga and the meditation, so we're not building that up. We start to supplement it with CBD, CBG, and we actually start to create more of that. And then I also work, alongside directly with the endocannabinoid system to really nourish it and support it so we can stay in this place of balance. And, it's really phenomenal. This is why, we're not making medical claims here, yet the research is continuing to show that there are really great benefits. And this is why we have seen, reports on over 250 different medical conditions where there is some type of positive result, some type of positive benefit that is seen when people start to supplement with CBD.
Awesome.
And, so some people want to dismiss this as like, oh, this is this new fad, this is this new miracle solution, and it's not, yet it kind of is, in that it really is supporting the body to get into the place and where the body can do the healing. The body can be in balance. The body can do the thing that it's designed to do as an.
So how to support your body in healing itself, how to support your body in maintaining its own homeostasis and balance. I really want to make sure to mention that that there's a big variety amongst quality of product. There's, hundreds and thousands of new CBD products coming on the market. There's a lot of issues with regards to toxicity, with absorption, with bioavailability, with potency. So finding the right brand is a really important thing. Finding something that's third-party tested, that's got really high absorption, that is being made in a very pure way is really, really critical and important. So we're not just endorsing everything, but we're available to answer questions. So feel free to reach out to me with questions that you might have. This is Joanne Reese. I really want to thank my guest, Kiana Prema, today. May this information bless you. May you get curious and want to learn more about this, and may you please come back and join us on another show. Thanks for being here today, Kiana.
Thank you. My pleasure.